Hello, everybody. I'm Nikki, and this is episode number 1 of Pillow Talk with Nikki. Now, normally I would have Fabio beside me, but Fabio, this is my stand-in fake Fabio right here. You can tell it's him because of the orange helmet and his ice tools. Not that he's usually allowed to come into bed with his ice tools, but it was deeply symbolic here that now you know it's Fabio. Who else could it be? That Fab works on call, and yeah, he's on call. He got called, so he's not here for the inaugural episode of this whole ridiculous project that was started because he likes to be read to at night. So now our big secret is out, but I think that it is a tragedy that we have lost this tradition of reading to each other. So I'm going to try to rectify that and share some of my favorite books on the bedside with you guys. So here we have, I think on Instagram it's backwards, but in Facebook it's also looks backwards. Oh man, I thought I had this all set up. Well, anyway, I'll get this worked out for the next time, but I'll read it to you. It's The End of the Rope by Jen Redford. A fabulous book, and I'm going to read to you about a chapter. So this is going to last just long enough to put you to sleep. That's my intention. But I'll leave all the information about Jan's fabulous book in the notes or comments somewhere so that you can rush out tomorrow and get a copy, because really everybody should have a copy of this, and then you can read it to someone that you adore in your own sweet time. Or don't share. Be selfish. Read it to yourself. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to read from chapter 1, which is called On the Rocks. There he was, the beast, my 80-pound backpack, squatting on the snow-covered parking lot in the Wind River Range of Wyoming. My pack was definitely he, not she. No, she would never put another she through this kind of torture. My skis were on and it was time to go. I just had to get the beast on my back. My pack was so heavy that when I pulled it out of the back of the bus after we'd arrived, it fell to the ground like an anchor, dragging me with it, and I lay there on top of it, my hands still gripping the metal frame, with 13 guys laughing at me. Okay, I've been in this situation, not with 13 guys, but definitely with a backpack too heavy for me to hold up. Sorry, but I digress. With 13 guys laughing at me. The other 3 girls in our group weren't laughing. They let the guys unload their packs. In the lumber yard, the equipment issue building back in Lander, Wyoming, I'd practiced getting it on and off. But that was before strapping skinny 180 centimeter boards to my feet. I'd only cross-country skied with my outdoor education class in high school, and a couple of times near Mont Tremblant with my Uncle Steve. I wasn't sure how far I could get on skis, even without the pack. My mother's voice popped into my head. You can do anything you set your mind to, Jan. You have so much potential. But she hadn't seen the beast. Maybe my training regime of the past 3 months could have been more rigorous. I should have spent more time running laps around the track at the Ottawa Coliseum and less time reading self-help books and saying affirmations. I should have done more crunches. And I definitely should not have been taking drags on my sister's cigarettes. Panic washed down my back like a melting snowball. What if I couldn't do this? What if I was too small, too weak, too out of shape, too female? I couldn't go running back to my parents with my tail between my legs, not after they'd paid 3,000 non-refundable American dollars for tuition. My father had made it clear that this was it. They would pay for an outdoor school or a college, but not for both. And what would I tell my friends? For years I'd been bragging that I was going to hitchhike across the country, live off the land, going to have climb mountains, be a ski patroller, a photographer, a writer. I was going to have a big life. Everyone thought I was being dramatic, but right after high school, I had escaped Munster. I joined Katimavik, the 9-month volunteer program for Canada's youth, expecting to be transformed into the muscular, tanned, chainsaw-wielding environmentalist in a plaid red jacket and hiking boots on the brochure. Instead, after spending all those hours milking cows, picking rocks, and weeding gardens in BC and clearing land with the Dene and 30 below temperatures in the Northwest Territories, I'd turned into a shaggy-legged, directionless hippie, 10 pounds overweight, from a vegetarian diet of bread, pasta, and beer. But now here I was, in Wyoming, on my way to becoming a mountain climber. This is what I'd imagined for 6 years, ever since climbing that crumbling cliff in the Laurentians. I could not fail. We were on day 1 of a 3.5-month semester course with the National Outdoor Leadership School, NOLS. Apparently, this was the best training for outdoor leaders, better than anywhere in Canada. 3 weeks each of ski touring, desert hiking, mountaineering, then 2 weeks of caving and 2 of rock climbing. At the end of it all, if I performed well, I would be recommended for the NOLS instructor course. The orange bus, our only link to civilization, chugged back out to the road, belching a cloud of diesel, and the second last group glided off into the woods with Richie, one of the instructors, in the lead. I wanted to be in his group. He was 22, only 2 years older than me, and already an outdoor instructor. And he was cute. Blue eyes, blonde hair, and cheeks rounded by a wad of red man chewing tobacco. He'd hefted his 80-pound pack as if he were perching a baby on his hip. That left only 6 of us in the parking lot. Tony, the instructor, us 4 girls, and Gunter. Young, gangly Gunter from Europe, with the coordination of an overcooked noodle. He was the only one who wasn't here by choice. His parents had sent him. The rest of us had our own agendas, most of us wanting to push ourselves to our limits in the wilderness. Some were planning to go on to take the instructor training with NOLS. Some wanted to escape soul-sucking jobs in New York or Albuquerque for a few months. And for others, this course was a rite of passage after graduation from high school or university. My own goal was modest, to emerge from the fires of NOLS transformed like the phoenix into a completely different person, one who was in control of her life. Now, so far, my 1.5 years out in the big bad world had been anything but controlled, and my survival was nothing short of miraculous. During the first Katimavik rotation near Lund, BC, I'd almost been lured up Toba Inlet, an area so remote it was accessible only by boat, by a middle-aged sex offender hippie. I'd signed up for and was saved by friends from 3 weeks of fasting and Dianetics indoctrination in some Scientology leader's basement in East Vancouver, and I'd almost moved into a trailer with a mill worker from Powell River whom I'd met and necked with at a party. And that was just the first 3 months away from home, and just the highlights. And that is where I'm going to leave this evening's Pillow Talk. But we're going to reconvene here every evening at about 10 o'clock for 5 to 10 minutes. And we'll read from a different book. So if you enjoyed that one, that is from The End of the Rope, Mountains, Marriage, and Motherhood, a fabulous memoir by Jan Redford. And it's funny and irreverent and profound, all at the same time. By turn, each of the above. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Sorry I couldn't read your comments, obviously, while I was reading the book, because I only have 2 eyes and they both focus in the same direction. So I couldn't do the, reading back and forth. But I'll go through the comments. If you have suggestions for books that you think we should cover here, awesome. Leave a note for me in the comments and I will take all suggestions into consideration. See ya tomorrow. Good night and sleep tight.